Timberwolves are going to win the world championship.
Edwards. Oh, Edwards! They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, baby.
Welcome in. What the heck is going on?
I did that.
We're circles.
I don't know. It was an update. It was pretty funny. Look how funny this is.
Timberwolves lose 113-105 against first place Oklahoma City Thunder, who have now won 12 in a row. A lot of things to take away from this game. My quick takeaways: Finch didn't call a timeout during a 40-0 run. It wasn't 40-0. You know, we brought it back to a one possession game in the fourth until SGA flops, which, by the way, the Thunder, kind of embarrassing to watch at times for how skilled they actually are. Tons of flopping. And I hope that there's some OKC fans watching this because it's embarrassing. Please let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, and you know, like, we had a pretty good first half. I'm not too mad about this. I'm very mad about Finch losing us this game because that is what lost us the game. We cannot allow, what was it, 13-0, 15-0 run or something like that to happen. Yes, Conrad. Also, SGA pushing off and getting away with it. There was multiple times in the fourth quarter just bad. But of course, Ant does the one push off and he gets called for it immediately. Just like stupid. But yeah, I mean, the Thunder are a fantastic team. They're built really well. I mean, Shea is incredible. And he's able to finish through contact when there is contact. Yeah, what are your initial thoughts after this game? How are you feeling?
Relieved. Though that music just I'm ready for a new year with that jazz music, man. I'm fine. It's totally legit and fine to lose a game to the OKC Thunder. That is not maybe my issue. I turned the game off partway through the third, and I did not watch the game, the rest of the game. I might have paid attention to the box score a bit, and I saw that we were down by 3 at one point. But so we were coming back, and I was like, oh, I'm the reverse Gerald. But I got pretty irritated tonight. The first half was exciting. The second quarter, specifically with the bench mob, the DNA. I don't know about that nickname. It's like pretty early to nickname the group. But the second squad, the second unit, kind of started moving the ball back to back. Oops to Minot. That was electrifying.
That was crazy.
Because we don't have a lot of energy from our starters. We don't have the dunks, the ferocious dunks that we've been accustomed to seeing and getting off our chairs for. We see, a couple of, splashy plays from Ant or Julius, but that's about it, right? Mm-hmm. So the bench mob comes in and kind of takes this energy and cranks it to 11. That was awesome, right?
Yeah.
After halftime, we're up by 7 or something, and quickly turns into an 8-point lead from OKC's point of view, and nothing. As you said, no change in the lineup. Conley hits some threes, but then Conley keeps shooting, or Conley keeps ball handling and turning the ball over. It was frustrating to watch because it felt like we were just running into a wall, and we're just the wall, the Williams wall, the OKC hands line up, and they got a talking to, and we didn't get a talking to. You know what I mean? They were just let's pretend everything's okay. So long story short, sorry, Cameron, I keep over explaining myself. I'm kind of pissed that we lost the way that we did. It's okay to lose against the OKC Thunder. They're the best fucking team in the West.
Yeah.
But how we lost is pretty mesmerizing, pretty dumbfounding.
Yeah, it's just a really frustrating loss because it was such a winnable game, even with all the stupid crap that we allowed to have happen in the third quarter.
Glenn's private bits. Marco, by the way, those gifts were amazing tonight.
Yes, always. Shout out the Discord. Join the Discord. Speaking of which, I should have done this right off the top. I forgot to do this. Instead, I was trying to bait Oklahoma City fans into commenting and boosting our algorithm.
There's more of this.
Yeah. If you haven't already, check out the Discord. I've got a link in one of the channels. It's the game day meetups, because I'm going to be in Minnesota for the first week of February, and I want to pick a day. There's 4 games in the week that I'm going to be home. Right now, it seems like the best will be Saturday for a lot of people, but if that doesn't work for you, I want you to vote. And if it does work for you, I want you to say yes, because I mean, I'll be at all 4 games, but I want to have one game where we try to meet up someplace. I don't know if it's something like something small, like we meet up inside of Target Center, just like outside of one of like the what am I trying to say? Outside of one of like the pro shops or something like that. Or if we do something a little bit larger and maybe go to like Tom's Watch Bar before the game or after the game or something like that. I don't know. Just trying to get a gauge of what people want to do. Because I think that would be fun. Also, whatever game it is, we're going to do some giveaways for tickets for that game. So that's another reason that we want to know, and I want to know early because I want to decide within like this week, honestly. So anyways, check out the Discord if you haven't already. Fill out that survey. Let me know, but only fill it out if you're actually going to go to the meetup. I don't want you to fill it out if you're like absolutely not going to go, or if you live like I do in Seattle. Like, don't do that. But anyways, this game is super frustrating because it was so winnable. But really, I mean, it's incredible that it was a 1-possession game that late, and it had some shades of what was whatever our last game was, where we came back in the 4th to win
17. Yeah,
it felt like, oh my gosh, this actually might happen. Also, a lot of the times when these teams go on runs in like the 3rd or early 4th quarter, it takes a lot emotionally out of them, because I mean, look at OKC was celebrating like crazy.
right.
And then they get into the 4th and the crowd and the team are both kind of like, oh, we kind of won this. Like, we won. And then it's like, well, if you have a somewhat mature team, even just mildly mature team, just play serious, even though they are down by so much. It's basketball. This is a game of runs and anything can happen. Which we proved tonight. Now, of course, OKC did come through in the end. Just abomination. That's the other thing I was going to say. We just don't have a point guard. Somebody said it in the Discord. I don't remember. But like not having the ability to have Mike Conley out there in the 4th quarter late, and having Nas get stripped, having Ant try to facilitate, just it doesn't work. So yeah, Steven Swayze. Honestly, when the game went south, this might sound nuts, but when Conley was out there playing like garbage and we gave him a run and then fumble our way back to our 10-point lead, and Ant hits Rudd.
Yeah. This is 100% correct.
Oh, Rudy.
Steven Swayze, 100% correct. I felt that exact moment. Like, I was laughing my ass off when Rudy was like, let's go like Superman with this thing. And he extends his other arm out and he misses the dunk.
Yes.
He could have just done 2 hands. And it would have been fine. But that was a momentum play, and I, shout out to you for realizing or recognizing that. It's unbelievable to see like just like the deadpan like effort, at times from our team. This was super winnable, as you said. How crazy is it to be on the receiving end of game 1 and 2 of a Denver versus Minnesota series, where we are stopping them at like the point, of attack. We're not getting to the paint. We're not getting the free throw line. We're not getting any offensive going. They're in every passing lane. So we're afraid to pass. We're tentative to pass. So now we're just backing down our defender. And here comes, Cason Wallace, or, what's his name? Kendrick Williams. And like, they're just like in every passing lane. They must have had like 20 steals or something. Impressive as fuck, because we were winning because they weren't really hitting shots. In a lot of ways, but that's partially because of our defense.
Yeah.
But then their defense translated into easy offense. Their defense translated into us like just shitting the bed, and then we couldn't make shots, and they were hitting threes. They compensated for the first half with a second half barrage, and they got to the line a bunch in the 4th quarter too. And it's just like, where's Ant? Where's our star? We're like, someone in Discord kind of like raised a great point, Cameron. I think it was Call Me Casual, where he was like, hey, we have like Ant who's ascending, and Julius is there too, but like part of the cat trade results is like, right, like who's ascending with Ant? Like Jaden's taking a step back. Is it DiVincenzo? Is it anyone? Like,
Yeah, recently,
We're getting
DiVincenzo.
older.
Yeah,
We're getting
exactly.
older when the NBA is getting younger. That's kind of gross.
Yeah, you need. I mean, you just. The problem is that I know a lot of people, like myself included, during the game. I was like, Ant is just frustrating me that can't take us to the promised land here, the second half. But if you watch, I mean, he truly is just getting. I mean, one, he's always getting the best defender on him. If he's not double teamed, it's just the best defender. And Lou Dort might be like the best on ball defender in the league. Um,
Maybe.
and then also Lou Dort is like a cheat code. He should not be allowed in the NBA. He should be required to play football, and that is it. He cannot be in the NBA. To your point, Oklahoma City Thunder versus Timberwolves. Timberwolves have 3 steals. Guess how many steals the Oklahoma City Thunder have?
Well, I mean, I can see the answer, but I said 20. How many do they have?
16. Like,
Isn't that crazy?
that is crazy.
16 steals.
16
You
to
would think
3.
that we would change something up.
I don't know how your like awareness as a ball handler, even if you're not a normal ball handler, doesn't just suddenly be like crazy nervous because every possession they're stealing it. This doesn't make sense.
This is a great question. I don't even think it is a question. But it's like kind of like I'm puzzled by what we're seeing here sometimes, where it's like, hey, we're not the Bulls and the Lakers or the Warriors, where we can just like reason it out or deal with the pressure and then have something come out of these like runs from the other team. You know, we're the Timberwolves. We need a lot of work and we need a lot of like hand holding right now, literally, because the kind of mental fortitude collapses when we have these kind of struggles. It feels like even like Na was struggling to hold the ball, and like that's crazy. That sucks. Like he's one of our point guards, and our point guards can't even handle the ball. Like,
Yeah.
oh no! Like,
Just
what is this? What is basketball when you can't like actually run a play? It's just run up and down the court and shoot and hope things happen, and that's why the game is a different game than it should be. You know.
And it wasn't even, I mean, it's not even so much that we don't have a point guard. It's just more that it was like dumbfounding like errors of like especially that last one where Nas is just dribbling up and like dribbling between traffic and just doesn't care to think about the person that's behind him.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I want to touch on this real quick before we maybe go to the tier list. But because there's a conversation, Ish first pointed out, Ant has to work on his game more. You can see obvious differences between his game and SGA's game. SGA is very seasoned, and that comes with time. And exactly. SGA is like 3 or 4 years older than Ant. So, and the other thing that we have to remember, and I'm not trying to call you out, Ish, because this is what you're saying, but like to everyone and myself, Ant is 3 or 4 years younger than SGA, and Ant ascended very quickly over the last 2 years or 3 years. So like we need to allow him to have a little bit more time to develop naturally. Now, also, Capo, to be fair, though, SGA gets the best defender every night as well, but his handle and slithery play get him through everything. That is true, but also look at the surrounding team around him. He can kick it out to 4 guys that can hit threes at a high rate. So this isn't like Ant tonight at times is out there with 4 non-shooters. Like, it's crazy. I mean, look at the starting lineup. It's Mike, who is like, other than that 9-0 run, nothing. Rudy obviously is nothing, although Finch thinks that he is. You have Jaden, who is like once in a blue moon a good offensive player. What is he supposed to do? And then Julius. Sorry, I didn't mention Julius, but like Julius is like kind of a 50-50 guy, but he's not even like a shooter. He's more of like a post up, let me dribble the air out of the ball kind of a player. So it's just, there's 2 things, and I'm not trying to say that Capo or Ish said this. I can just detect that other people are going to say this on Twitter or wherever. It's just like, it's not quite fair to put all the criticism on Ant for tonight or in general when you compare them to each other, because SGA has the perfect situation around him, and Ant doesn't have really almost any ideal pairing partners. It's crazy. Cat was the closest. Cat mentioned. Cat was the closest, but Cat, when we had him on our team, only shot like 3 threes a game.
Yeah.
And when he would throw it out, then Cat would be like, you know what? Actually, I'm a cutter. I'm going to start driving to the rim and committing offensive fouls. So I don't know. It's just you really do need a roster reconstruction if you want it to be exactly how it is for SGA, because given SGA is, I think, even with Ant having another 4, even another 10 years of development, SGA is just way better of a point guard than Ant will ever be. Like, it's not even close. Ant's handle is not good. He can improve it, but like it's not ever going to be SGA level. So SGA will always have that on him. And he is a lot more slithery. Ant's got some moves, but I don't know. It's a lot more just shot
Didn't
making
like
and
SGA come
driving.
into the league kind of as a project, like as this
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
tall, slanky point
Well, he
guard,
was
but like
traded. Yeah, exactly. It was
right,
like it takes time, you know.
yeah,
And like when
but
he was
like
on the Clippers, wait, who was he with the Clippers first?
yeah,
Yeah. So Clippers, and then the Clippers traded him for Paul George. Is that what it was? Yeah. Oh man. Um, God, that's a crazy trade. That is a crazy trade.
crazy trade. Just
Um,
like that is also just insane because OKC just saw the writing on the wall and got a bunch of picks. And look at them now. Oh my God. Look at Houston now after trading, Chris Paul and James Harden and Westbrook. And they were trying to superstar the team. And now they have a bunch of hungry, uh, new players in the league. It sounds exciting to be a fan of the Rockets. It sounds really exciting to be if I was a fan of the Thunder. Look at this team just flourish like
yeah,
with
yeah.
just effort. And
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if you have an all-star talent. You have some of the best players in the NBA on your team, and
Yeah,
unless like they give a shit on defense, look at them when they turn it up after halftime. That'd be like
yeah,
some of the most fun you'll ever watch basketball. Like that 10-15-0 run sucked to watch
yeah,
because we were being
yeah.
dealt the ass kicking. But oh my god, that would have been so fun and electric at the stadium, if like or
Hey,
like at the
seriously.
arena.
Yeah.
That'd been so fun. And that was what we were last year. That's what we
Yep.
had those types of efforts where yeah, the shot wasn't going, but we always felt like we were giving as much effort as possible. No scapegoats really defensively.
Yeah.
But now the
Um,
transition is offense, man. Like
mhm.
our defense is steady, it's fine. Especially in the first half, we were like disallowing them from like hitting threes and we didn't really get to the line that much, or they didn't get really to the line that much. But our offense kind of kept us going. But in the second
Yep.
half, like it just dropped because we lost like confidence and like consciousness of like how to run a play. Hey,
Yeah.
we have an insanely smart audience. Cameron, I don't know, like I feel like these people should take over our show sometimes. KG2TD21, Zach McCready. Look, do you see this? This
Yeah.
one. We're trying to maximize this team instead of our star player, and that's probably the worst philosophy ever in 2024. The more you maximize your best player, the better your team is going to be. Case in point, SGA. Like
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they had fucking Pokusevsky or whatever. Like, ooh, ooh. And like, a bunch of random role players and SGA, and they were like, we're gonna build with you, we're gonna trust in you and be
Yeah.
patient with all this picks that we're throwing in. They don't even have Chad Holmgren out there right now.
Yeah. I know.
So they're hobbled.
I
We're 100% outside of Rob Dillingham, who we're not even playing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
He's
we're
injured,
basically
but what
healthy.
does it matter? Yeah. Yeah. It's concerning. I could fantasize about roster construction of the OKC Thunder forever because they still have picks to use. They still have cap space. Like honestly, I keep coming up with ways to like deal Zion places. But like imagine if they were just like, you know what? Let's just take a flyer. Let's just trade like 3 first round picks to get Zion and just see what happens.
They could do it.
Like he could be injured for a year. Who cares? Look at our entire team. Like and then let's say like Zion comes back and he's like actually amazing, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, that team is unstoppable. But um they just have it doesn't have to be Zion, but like they have the ability to go and get any player that they could want. So um I'm I'm curious to see for their sake what happens going forward. Um but yeah, I'm also curious to see how they do in the playoffs this year. Because last year they got tested and they were beaten by the Mavs just as we were. Um, and what if they didn't go up against the Mavs? Maybe the Mavs were just like a West killer last year. So like, what if can they go all the way to like a Western Conference Finals or further? Because at the moment it seems like yes, and they're all insanely young. So
Yeah, it seems like they're on a crash course towards the NBA Finals. Like this is a team that has like 8 weapons out there, and one of
yeah,
them's
yeah,
like Isaiah Joe. Like who is
I
like
hate him.
one of
He's
their
a killer.
biggest 3-point shooters, but he doesn't even get playing time anymore. You know,
I know. They have too much talent. Like they could have like 4 injuries and they have 4 of their backups come in and be no different.
and that's what's happening right now. Cason Wallace isn't a starter, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Case and Wallet. Yeah, because where Caruso's out.
Caruso's out. Oh my God, they have Caruso too.
Yeah, I'm kind of talking myself out of feeling good about this game now because
Yeah,
Caruso's out,
let's get over this. Let's get.
Chet is out, and also they shot like 10% from the free throw line tonight. So maybe I don't feel great about this.
Right.
But maybe it's time to go to the tier list before we get too negative.
Dude, let's talk about the Vikings, huh?
Let's talk about the Vikings. The Vikings actually, not looking.
What are your thoughts for Sunday? Vikings and Lions.
So nobody's gonna like my take. So I feel as if I should shut
Let's
up.
move on then.
I think that the Vikings are not going to win. They're not going to win.
You just said they're going to lose.
I could say some some spicier takes, but I don't want it to seem like I'm like super anti Vikings. But I don't think that they're going to win. If they win, I mean, they could because, Detroit is injured, a lot of injuries. But I just don't believe it. Yeah, turn it purple.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah, it was 2 halves in a way, but also that's mostly just like how we came back in the fourth. Unsubscribe. I feel like the way that we came back in the fourth quarter is like a testimony to like the other people like in our lineup that are like really cruising. Because like, what was that? That was Dante DiVincenzo. That was Naz Reid. Right? That was a lot of hustle from all their players. Ant comes in late a little bit too, but like, wasn't Gobert and Conley and Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
And these guys are in our starting lineup. It's like it's kind of an antiquated notion to play your vets and like ride them for a regular season game. It's like we need to get out and like pick up the pace and score more points than the opponent, of course, but also just like punch back. I feel like we weren't, and especially in the fourth quarter, we started to make that run because they were missing shots again. They kind of ran out of gas to an extent, right? Like a lot of chucking from like Dort and Williams, but like,
yeah, they do get for the Thunder. It is a little concerning for them at times too, because they do get into some of that chucking the Rockets of 2018 kind of version, where it's just like if they go in, and we win by 30. If they don't go in, then we lose by 30, and it's like that's a little bit of a danger for them. They're not that team, obviously, but still somewhat of that like we're just gonna chuck it and not play real offense. So, anyways, all right, tier list, and Nick Anderson says less tiers. We've already eliminated some.
Rest in peace, Bottoms.
Rest in peace, Bottoms. Sorry, Marcos. I don't know. That might be a conversation for another day. I guess I'm probably down to get rid of some because it is very big and it's very annoying how much space it takes up on the screen. I'd rather have like 4 tiers. We should do what you talked about from day one, the quadrants. The quadrants make sense. They do actually make some sense. Anyways, tier list time. A1, unforgettably good game. Glenn Taylor, unforgettably bad game. Meh, we didn't notice you, or you were okay, but whatever. Old tier is dynamic, moves up and down. Tonight, it's moving down. And Cash is a good shooting performance. I'm going to start with one right off the bat that I don't even need stats for, except I do have a stat. The Oklahoma City Thunder going a 32-8 run in a 7-minute period in the third quarter.
Say less.
Chris Finch gets a Glenn Taylor unforgettably bad performance.
Was that John Kaczynski tweeted that?
No, I just found that in the Reel app. Shout out Reel.
Wow. You told me about that, and I downloaded it, and I haven't used it once.
I like it.
But I can tell you that the OKC Thunder had 31 points off of turnovers to the Minnesota's 8.
Amazing.
Whoa. Look at us. We're basically
hashtag analytics.
Analysts. Yeah. Hashtag anal.
Yeah.
What?
Jesus.
Lytics. There it is. Hey, let's talk about this game more apparently. So Minot, who
Yeah.
didn't get as much burn as I wanted him to in the second half,
But he
because
got some second half run,
yeah,
which
were
he
you
never does.
surprised?
He never does. He's always just the first
Oh.
half, and then Finch never puts him back in.
He went 3 for 4, and all 3 of his shots were dunks. All 3 of them were
love
oops.
it. I love
And that
it.
was that was like the most fun in the game. I feel like I had was just the transition. Nas, DiVincenzo, Nah, ooping to Minot. That was awesome. 6 points. Give him an A. He was
Honestly, yeah, this is like super solid. I love you, Josh. I want more, Josh. Why not? Why not?
awesome. Sam Darnold, A1. He's had
Sam-
quite a fucking year. I'm pretty
He
impressed.
this is my take though about the Vikings. We're not going to go too much into Vikings tangent, but I really do just think that Kevin O'Connell is like controlling Sam Darnold's brain or whoever quarterback is for our team. Yeah, he's just driving the vessel of whoever the quarterback is. It's not actually the quarterback making the plays. I think
man.
I mean, we've seen we saw last year Josh Dobbs was playing well for us. We had what was it? What Mullins or whoever playing well for us. Like we've got a good offense, and a lot of that is Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell. So like, I don't know. Yeah, imagine Kevin O'Connell coaching the Wolves.
We'd have post-game speeches.
We need cock.
We need cock.
He
Hey,
is
you know
the
what?
quarterback.
Shout out to your
whisperer.
family who's probably watching the show right now live.
I'm so sorry, my family.
Oh my god.
Hopefully you're watching
I
fireworks
love you.
or something.
That's amazing. Hey, speaking of love, we don't have him anymore, but we do have someone who is nothing like him in Nas Reed. Actually, he's kind of like him. 20. What am I looking at? 32 minutes. I'm off my game right now. 33 minutes, 19 points. 8 for 14 from the floor. Holy crap, that's amazing. That's like 100% what I want from Nas Reed. I don't want a 1 for 8 or 2 for 10 showing. I want him just gunning because that's what he's great at. However, he didn't do a whole lot of gunning. He was all in the paint. He had some awesome post moves. Even got to the line. 8 rebounds. My gosh, that's awesome. 4 turnovers. That blows. 3 blocks in the first half. That was amazing. This guy was all over the place.
Yeah.
And he was one of the better players of the team tonight.
He was. Yep.
Imagine KOC coaching up this team with Nas Reed.
Yeah.
Cameron.
He could be quarterback for the Vikings. I'm sure of it. However, the one downside to Nas tonight was all the turnovers. He did have 4 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. Other than that, it really was a good night for Nas. I mean, he was doing everything that you would expect from Nas Reed and more. I mean, he was. I mean, look at his stat line. This is a pretty good stat line if you don't count the fouls and turnovers. And yeah, like you said, this felt like a good game for him. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I want to go all the way down to a meh for this because I think that overall his game was an A if you don't count the turnovers. But the turnovers, all 4 of them, hurt badly. And especially that last one was just like, oh, we still had like a chance at the game and we can't. It's just such a bad turnover too. It's not like, oh, just incredible defense. Like it's just oblivious offense. So I think I go with a B. I think
he had 11 points in the fourth quarter. He was part of that comeback. It's a B. It's a B plus. It would be an A had he not turned it over. But actually, everyone was turning it over. So I didn't even want to. I almost wanted to give him a pass for that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Add more tiers.
I mean, we were not passing the ball. But yeah, it's crazy. What could have been tonight? You know, like Nas Reed hitting a couple more shots from 3. It would have been a completely different kind of storyline. Nas Reed, welcome back, you know, because he's had kind of an up and down season this year.
Yeah, he has.
Because I feel like he's sharing some of the load of offensive requirements. Because DiVincenzo, him, they're all playing phenomenally, right? Some of the best players on their team of late.
Yep.
But he's also it's good to have all these options, but it's he's less of a focus at times, you know.
Yep.
DiVincenzo, who was one of the players of the game the other night. I hope you missed that show. That was me struggling mightily solo. Shout out to you, Cameron, for doing this as much as you do. Dante DiVincenzo, 30 minutes, 10 points, didn't hit the over-under. My God, big boy. I am over like 35 tonight this year.
Casinos love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 2 for 7 from 3 and 5 assists. That's pretty awesome. I don't think I saw really anything really bad other than like, his shot wasn't going as much as we wanted him to tonight.
Yeah. Honestly, the first half was gross for him, but maybe I was excited because my under on the under-over was hitting. Because the last half of the game felt much better from Dante to me. I mean, he only hit, he hit 2 threes, but yeah, it wasn't really, wasn't that good. Dante not playing for the first 6 minutes in the third, maybe even more, was criminal. Yeah, I felt like he was playing okay tonight, even though the shot wasn't really going in. Also, I mean, this is just one play, and it ended up being a turnover. But that rebound that he had late in the fourth was like, I jumped out of my seat when I saw that rebound. I don't think I've ever been so excited to see a rebound. And then, of course, he's like, oh, I trust Rudy with all my might, and his nice, warm, embracing hands. And then he's like, oh, wait, no, they're bricks. They're bricks. So that was sad to have such a tremendous rebound be wasted. But I don't know. I know this wasn't a great shooting performance from him, but I just felt like he still played okay.
Agreed.
I don't know. I don't really know how high I can go on our tier list, but like, I probably can't go above a B. I can't go above a B. Can't go below a meh.
So I think he's a B. Actually, I think we need more tiers. What did Nick Anderson say? More tiers?
Yeah, Nick said more tiers. Yeah.
Yeah, when he's making shots, he's amazing. It's amazing.
I think it's
electric.
It's crazy because I just feel like he was like when he's out there, and maybe it's just like the last few games bias or something like that, but it just feels better. Like it just feels better when he's out there, and I want to see him out there. Maybe that's a little bit of seeing less Mike Conley, and that's making me happy.
It is, yes, it is.
But I think it's a B, even though this isn't like that good of a game. I know, but I don't know. He was out there. Also, he got robbed of an insanely stupid call where it was like a jump ball, and they called a foul on him for like pulling the chair on whoever it was, Shea or whoever. Or no, it was J-Dub, I think. But yeah, that was super annoying. So he gets a B out of pity because that was ridiculous. But the announcer said, "Why would he give it to Rudy?" Yeah, I mean, was that the OKC announcers?
Big boy with the over-under for threes in our game was 15.5, by the way. We only had 15. Cameron, how is Big Boy so good at this?
He claims that he just looks at the averages and then goes up or down depending on like which way we've been trending recently. It's crazy, but he's so good at it. I want to know at the end of the year if the Big Boy was a casino. Would he have made money, or like would the book win, or would or would we win, the people? I think
if you were building, I don't know. I got nothing. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, 19 minutes, 8 points, didn't miss a shot.
Really?
However, team worst, -12. I don't know. That doesn't sound right. But 5.
I think it's just because he was out there during the crazy Finch not calling a timeout run.
I mean, it's also 5 turnovers.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah. A lot of it's just hard to kind of dissect from a box score.
Well,
I thought he was fine, honestly.
Here's the thing. I mean, I know I keep calling back to the Portland games that I went to, but those were the games where Mike was out, I think, and we put Na in, and as point guard, Na was just turning it over, and it was not good. So Na needs to not be the point guard for us. He needs to be like like one of our better defenders out there, and somebody that can catch and shoot threes, because he can do that clearly. And he can drive a little bit. I just don't want him being our sole and only point guard, which is our major problem for this year and last year is point guard. We just need to have more than Mike Conley. and maybe somebody different than Mike Conley, and then we would still, even if we traded Mike Conley or didn't play Mike Conley, or if he retired or whatever, we can't just have one. We need multiple. So like, and I just don't think that that's Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Maybe a little bit of Dante in there, maybe, but Nickeil, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to work when it's that way. So
Cameron, question for you. Last year we were top seed of the West.
Yeah.
We were kind of fighting for first, but I think we had quite a cushion on OKC and Denver and Dallas, right? To kind of round things out in the top of the West. We never really relinquished the lead until very late in the season. This year we are 10 games worse than OKC, just like from a box score or like a standings point of view, standings watch. I feel like we are 10 games worse. Maybe we are more average than we want it to be, and maybe we need to like relinquish some of the like yesteryear kind of hopes, right? But like OKC's without Chet Holmgren, and we were without Cat for like 50 games, right? And during the stretch, we were actually still working well as a unit. Other people kind of stepped up.
Yeah.
Now these other people are like, I guess this was a question that's more of just me talking, but now these other people are like standardly awesome, right? This is Nickeil, Dante, Josh is kind of emerging. So like, what's surprise? What unique thing has to come and change in this team to like change the trajectory of this year? Anything? Has it come from outside, or does it have to come from within?
I think it has. If you're going to change this year and try to compete this year for like a top seed, it has to be through trade. I think that Dillingham will come along. I don't know if he's ever going to be like our starting point guard. Maybe. I mean, we haven't seen enough of him to really know whether or not he's going to be. But Dillingham is still going to be a project. Even if we played him 30 minutes a game this year, that doesn't mean that. I mean, like, I love Dillingham and I think he's got really high potential. I think he does have starting point guard potential. I think it's possible, but that's just not happening this year. So it would have to be through a trade. And honestly, I just don't know what like point guards are out there that are available for us to get without spending too much. And it's like, I just like, there's players that everybody are talking about, like Cam Johnson, but that's not a guard. He's not a point guard. There's just a lot of players that are available that are like bigs or wings or something like that, and not that. So
Yeah, well, I wonder if like the NBA is cyclical in the sense that like, when you have a structured kind of pedantic offense where it's like a point guard, a center, right? Like that's like how you run most of your offenses through a point guard. Then like the game transitions to like these long defenders that are 3-and-D guys. So like the 3-and-D guys are now pressing up against your point guards. Like, so you actually need a point guard. You can't lose that aspect of your team comp. And so, like, when you have like a James Harden high usage or Luka Doncic high usage, like they're like running their own offense. They're like kind of ISO playing. But like when you don't have that type of player, we do, but like we're not wanting that to be our DNA, right? He gets double teamed, he gets triple teamed, as Marcus FRM has mentioned. Like, how do you respond? You need to have someone with capable playmaking skills, and like we were like so desperate for that, so we made a trade for like-minded players, and so Ant could rest and stuff. But like we need a traditional point guard that can just run our offense, run a play, run some sort of set, just to get the ball moving. Because when the second unit comes in, it's all transition, it's all effort and hustle, but there's not really plays being run. And when the starters come back in, it's like the pace is gone, the energy is dead. And we're just kind of looking for and hoping for an answer. Honestly, it's like, it's crazy. We need a point guard in the worst ways, and I don't know who's out there, who's available.
Ish says, and this is actually one that I forgot about while I was saying it, I would love Colin Sexton. I would also love Colin Sexton. I have no idea what the price is for him. I worry that it's somewhat high. Also, he is a high salary player. Like, he makes like around 20 million, I think. So we would have to trade somebody around that same amount.
Wow.
And I mean,
23
I like
turnovers.
the idea.
23 turnovers, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
16 steals. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's looking up and down the roster. That's us not having a ball handler.
Yep.
To our starters,
Yeah.
Mike Conley, a supposed ball handler, the supposed savior of our franchise, Minnesota Mike, Couldn't be more unimpressed with what I'm seeing from him. 23 minutes, which is 23 minutes too long. 16 points. Nothing to like,
Wow, you had more than the 9 points in that run.
yeah.
That's
Nothing to
crazy.
really like kind of blemish his record on tonight. But 16 points, not bad. 4 for 7 from 3, not bad. But the eye test of tonight, Cameron, he was unplayable. They were targeting him. They were attacking him. He was behind Jalen Williams on every play, I felt. And so Jalen Williams was like, here's a bucket, hunting out Conley. Nothing was changing. So it's not necessarily a Conley problem. Conley's just old. It's a Finch issue.
Yep.
So I don't really know how I can grade this guy because he also made 3 threes, which were really fun to see, especially like shut me up when I was like, this is insane.
I tweeted at the same time you were talking about that, and I said we have to start having some uncomfortable conversations about Mike Conley after win or loss in this game. And then immediately he goes on the 9-0 run. And honestly, most of these stats that we're reading off, they look fine, but you take out that 9-0 run, and it's again a pretty terrible stat line. It's just it's not good. However, it is easy to grade him because he's old tier. It's just he's always old tier. And I think that it's honestly, I feel like it's below Wancho. I think that this was a really bad game for Mike, besides the 9-0 run, which one of those threes was banked in. Which of course, like that's fun. That's kind of a fun moment, whatever. But like, this is just really sad to see. And honestly, more than just sad for a Timberwolves fan, this is terrifying. You can't have this. I mean, think of why did we dominate the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs last year? Oh, it's because they had no point guard.
What did they do in the offseason?
Yeah, they took our point guards. But seriously, like we need some amount of point guard depth. Mike can be one of those guards, but we have to have one, at least, maybe 2 more guards. Mike is getting old. Yeah, stop it. Mike never getting out of old tier. Yeah, he'd have to go nuclear to get out of old tier, I think. And
I mean, it is a dynamic old tier after all.
It is dynamic. It could go high. It could go higher.
He can change what old means.
He can. Yeah, and he's still
we got the golden bachelor. Chance. We can have a golden Mike.
Yeah. What is Mike Conley's odds to get an A1 this year are probably like plus 10,000, but it's possible. It could happen. So, anyways, yeah, Mike is an old tier, below Wancho, above Glenn Taylor, and I think it's honestly only above Glenn Taylor because that 9-0 run that he did, that might have saved him from under Glenn Taylor.
I mean, it's crazy. Just like box score watching, and looking at every stat, you'd just be like, "Whoa, these guys don't know what they're talking about," and we don't. That's absolute fact. But also, like Josh Minot getting an A and Mike Conley getting old ass tier above Finch, which is Glenn Taylor, bottom of the tier list for scoring 16 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just an eye test. Like what we saw on the court is so different than like maybe sometimes the box score could kind of present. So Jaden McDaniels, speaking of presenting, he did nothing tonight. 28 minutes, 7 points, 6 rebounds. The 6 rebounds were nice. That was great. 3 turnovers.
So focused on that. He's
2
so
fouls,
focused on
and he hits 1 3. We have to focus on the small things with Jaden because he does so little these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, 5 rebounds. Ooh. We get excited about things that are not,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and also, I hate to make this comparison because it's going to start comparisons for months or years to come. But like, you're telling me Josh Minot couldn't go out and do what Jaden McDaniels did tonight? Like, I get that Jaden is a better defender. I get it. But like, Josh Minot could potentially be close to that level. He could be that like slot of a player. I'm not saying he is Jaden McDaniels, but like he could fill in that role if needed. And another uncomfortable conversation, I'm not saying that I want to get rid of Jaden. But there are things that are glaring. Like the recent debate on Twitter, and even the one that I brought to the Discord from Twitter, was like somebody posted a screenshot of trading Jaden McDaniels for Cam Johnson. And of course, like that trade on its own maybe isn't equal. Like there probably needs to be other things going on there. But the idea of that, having a Cam Johnson on the team right now sounds pretty nice, as opposed to Jaden, who scored 7 points for us tonight and got 6 amazing rebounds.
Yeah, the Lakers just traded for Dorian Finney-Smith. He sounds really nice right now because he's also like a 3-and-D player, right? And I guess he's also coming from the Nets. And I guess Dallas went kind of all in on that idea, and they got like Nazar Muhammad, they got Klay Thompson, they got pieces, and they also got like pieces within the pieces in case someone's not hitting it, right? We have Jaden McDaniels, and that's it. That's our answer at 3, right? Like, I guess sometimes subs him out, but it's mostly Jaden, right? Or we go small, and so like then Ant is at the 3, right?
Yep.
Like Jaden doesn't have it most nights, and we can't like keep waiting. And I'm one of the biggest Jaden McDaniels stands out there. Like I swear, but it's just like this is kind of getting tiring. I'm also tired of saying the same thing on repeat every show whenever I'm available or whenever we're on live. Like we're saying the same thing, Cameron. Like everything we talk about, almost every player is like the same level of exposure. Nothing is changing. It's just like a grade shift here and there, right? But Jaden's been consistently off the season, and he's lost confidence, and he's lost his hair, and he's the man is a father, the man's a family now, and he's got paid, and he's like turned into a different player, right?
Yeah.
He's not hungry anymore. I don't know.
It's concerning. So we're gonna have to have some conversations here.
Absolutely, KG. Look at this. Like every time Jaden just stands in the corner, it kills our offense because our offense doesn't move anyways, right? And he's not moving, so it's like it's so predictable.
Yeah.
Rudy doesn't do anything on the perimeter. Julius Randle's kind of a mixed bag on the perimeter. It's so predictable. Conley's not a threat. Jaden's missing 3. So like they're just clogging the paint, making Ant's life miserable, right? It's like such a different night and day thing that you mentioned about how OKC plays.
Yeah.
5 out. OKC has so many threats out there on the perimeter. And then even shoot the ball well tonight. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. This wasn't a good night for them, and they were fine. So
so I wish we had an ass tier because that's where Jaden McDaniels belongs for me. So you can go ahead and put wherever ass belongs for you. I'm ready to move on.
I don't know. It's honestly, it's kind of between like D'Lo and Juancho for me. I don't know if I want to go all the way down to Juancho, but I think I'll go D'Lo.
Juancho has this like positive twist to it, doesn't it? Like I just think of Juancho and I kind of smile at how like bad he was.
Yeah,
he was bad, but like I'm smiling at how sad he was.
Yeah, agreed. Well, who's up next?
Orange Julius Randle, 11 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 turnovers. I do want to say his first half effort was pretty awesome. His offensive rebounding was great.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but third quarter, Julius Randle came back, and it was a different player. Like maybe he just took a shit, and then he was just like reveling in that like squatting position. That's all he was doing for the rest of the game. He was just not anywhere to be found. I did not like this game from our man Julius Randle.
I didn't either. I liked the first half, like you said. The first half we were talking about in the Discord. Shout out the Discord. That Julius Randle is kind of an interesting matchup problem for OKC because although OKC does have some good defenders, I mean, like Dort is obviously a great defender and would be good against Julius if he was on Julius. But when you have Julius and Ant out there, Dort is going to be primarily on Ant, which then allows Julius, who's a bit stronger than a lot of the other players, to be able to kind of back down players, draw some fouls. We just like when he's out there, when we had Cat, when we've had all the bigs, we're like a stronger team. And of course they got Hartenstein or whatever, and they do have Chet. But like tonight, we had a little bit maybe of a size advantage. I might be walking back on that statement in a second, but like that was somewhat of an opportunity for him, and he took advantage of that in the early part of the game. But then it just went away, and then it turned into turnovers, and it was just, I mean, that third quarter he was part of that, and that looked really gross. And he gets, he doesn't like necessarily. I mean, his body language is not good out there. He seems to get flustered playmaking wise when runs are happening like that. it's just yeah, it was not a good second half. First half was acceptable. I'm probably somewhere in like a meh to D'Lo range, if I had to say.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Like I got nothing else to say. I think um we get the good and the bad and the ugly with Julius Randle, man. Like his last game, it was awesome, and he didn't really dominate the game. He dominated the game defensively, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just like such a different. But I am glad that we are like seeing him kind of step up defensively early in the game. At least like the past four or five games, he's been like on different assignments, and I
Yeah.
think I like that. So, anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, did we already grade him?
No.
I really don't want to talk too much about him because I do feel like that missed dunk was a big pivot point.
It
It's
was.
New Year's Eve after all, it's New Year's Eve. We're gonna have a hell of a year next year. I don't want to keep complaining about the same thing about Rudy Gobert, but I feel like that's all he's been doing since we've gotten him. He's been one of our better players, of course, but 8 points, 7 rebounds, a couple block shots. That's awesome, but like I don't know, man. That's not enough. And when Isaiah Hartenstein, who's like not the player you are, Rudy Gobert, basically doubles you up in every category. Like that's a little like embarrassing. And like you got to man up, you got to play stronger, you got to play like bigger. You can't just play soft. And he is always soft.
Yeah.
How I've always felt about him. He's not changing that narrative. He's very soft.
He is. Yeah, not a good game. Can't have. I mean, with how many misses the Thunder had tonight, there's just no way. And I get that a lot of them were threes and they were bouncing out, but he had 7 rebounds. Like that's like, and 5 of them were only defensive. So it's like, where are you? What's happening? And yeah, 8 points. I mean, like, why can't he get lobs like Minot's getting? I get that Minot's cutting to do it, but like, why can't Rudy just be in the dunker spot and just be ready for dunks all the time? And then the annoying thing about it, not that we really got to see it that much tonight, but the annoying thing about Rudy when he is in the dunker spot and seemingly is ready for lobs, we throw it to him and then he doesn't even jump sometimes, as if he's like, yeah, it's the so we get to the point where we're like, okay, fine, our players will finally start throwing lobs to Rudy, and then Rudy's like, oh, I don't know, like I don't do lobs actually. Yeah, it's just it's frustrating. But Matthew Hansen says Rudy D'Lo. I think I'm down. I was maybe thinking old tier, but this kind of does feel like it. This feels like it embodies D'Lo. By the way, if D'Lo gets bought out, should we sign him for the vet minimum? How crazy would that be?
And then bring it back. Let's get Vando.
I would take Vando back.
Bev. What is he up to in Israel?
Yeah. Gosh.
We need something. We need a jolt of energy. But however, we were feeling pretty high on like the shifting momentum of our team. Just a day or two ago, right? Like we've been winning games, and it's kind of like been our mantra. Like when we win, we're just in a better spirit. When we lose, we're talking about tanking the team and trading for Ben Simmons. But we came back tonight. That's one thing. We didn't like just fall. We tried to come back, and I think that's pretty. That's something to tip our hat to. We don't like these like types of losses where we like say, but also right, we did something good. No, I want the coaching staff to be trashing our players right now and like getting instilled in their heads that this is not good enough, because this is who we might be playing in the playoffs, probably, right?
It could be in the first
if we
round,
even get
too.
to the playoffs, Cameron.
Yeah, because if we're in the play-in and we are the 8th seed,
and just a couple years ago, we beat them in the play-in, right? To lose to Memphis, but we beat them in the play-in.
They're hungry for revenge.
Yeah, and now the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Who's wearing the Skims now?
Yeah, I don't know, but Anthony Edwards. What is his stat line?
39 minutes, 20 points. Why do I care about the minutes played? I don't think I care anymore.
I know. I always do that too.
20 points, 7 rebounds, couple assists, 3 turnovers. Here's the most interesting stat. 12 shot attempts.
Yeah, that's bad. But understandable because he's being double and triple teamed the entire game. So I guess I don't want him chucking shots, but at the same time, he was 6 of 12, and some of those shots were like when he was hitting that same fadeaway 3 that he hit for the game winner the other night. in the first half, where it's like, okay, well, I guess I do want you chucking over 2 or 3 people, because if you're going to be hitting like that. Also, this felt early on like an Ant game where he was like engaged and like shooting with purpose. It didn't feel like chucking to me. But it just comes down to roster construction again, because what we were talking about at the top, it's just like Ant doesn't have 3-point shooters to pass out to. So he passes it to somebody who then drives, like he passes it to Julius, and then Julius does a bunch of dribbling, and then he passes it back out to Ant. But Ant already has 2 people on him, so then Ant is like, okay, I'll give it to Mike, and then Mike bricks a 3. And it's just like, okay, now we go back, we play defense, whatever, we come back, Ant's got the ball, doubled at the top. And then he passes it to Jaden, and Jaden just quick shoots like a 3, and it clanks off, and it's like, oh, okay, then this is everything. That's our offense. So he needs somebody else that can shoot out there, and not just because like Randall, although he takes advantage of certain opportunities where he is like the larger player and can draw fouls. You need what Cat was, in what the idea of Cat, even though Cat didn't do it for us. You need the idea of a shooting big or just a shooting wing. Like imagine if Jaden had a 3-point shot. That would be perfect. If Jaden could shoot threes, how does he not just sit in the gym 24/7 and just shoot threes? It drives me crazy.
I wonder if that's all he does, and then maybe it's still not working.
And that's the problem, if that's what's happening. So I don't know. You need somebody else that you could pass to. He cannot have these situations where there's 2 or 3 non-shooters, or maybe they're shooters, but non-making shots players out there. You have to have something else out there. So I really don't give too much of like a downgrade to Ant's grade tonight because of Ant. It really is on like the coach and really the organization, like roster construction wise, which doesn't come down to tonight necessarily. It comes down to the whole season. So it's like, I don't know where to put him. I have no idea.
Zach, you should definitely be like a guest spot on the show, like take over the show sometimes. Like,
yes, exactly.
This is something I was so frustrated with, especially in the second quarter. Like, hey, he pops off for 11 in the second quarter, and then we don't go to him again, seemingly until the end of the game. Like, just looking at the box scores, he's like, 8-9 shots at half. He only takes 3 shots in the second half.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's a little ridiculous. That's our best player, by the way. For all you listening at home that don't know, you couldn't tell by the box score. And meanwhile, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just pops off for a casual 40.
Yeah.
Why is he getting the shot attempts, 23 shots? And are we doubling him? Are we threatening him? No, because
we can't double him.
We have to. When we try, it's just like a free 3 from them.
Yes, exactly. That's the issue, and that's why you need to have. And I know that people are going to be like, "Oh, well, then why did we trade Cat?" But you had to trade Cat. It was this season only with Cat, and then you would have to blow it up even worse than you did already. So it makes sense that we don't have Cat, but you have to figure out the roster construction and get a way to have shooters around him, so that exactly what you just said. That's exactly what we need to figure out. And some of those players we have. We have Naz Reid. I think that would be an option. Dante DiVincenzo is an option. Like, we have some of these players. It's just that when Ant is out there with the starting lineup, and that's Randall, Rudy, and Jaden, and Mike, I mean, that's just like, that is a fireable offense. That's bad. So.
Yeah, I mean, there is some merit to this, Nick. It's like the unselfishness or whatever. I don't really want that in Ant. I want him to be very aggressive at all times. That was like one of my biggest problems with Cat was his assertiveness. Cat mentioned in our show. But yeah, like you're right. Like, it is okay that he's allowing his team to kind of be tested, but like they're not proving it. So it's just like we're on the same page here, you and I. But it's just like he needs to turn the switch on and like still force it. And like, if the ball is off of him, he needs to run around screens and get the ball back. Like, it's unbelievable that we see a 12-shot attempt game from Ant. Despite him being double teamed.
Nick, no. I will talk about him every single stream.
All right, Nick.
Whether I try to or not. It just happens.
I want to stop talking about
but
it.
also,
It just will
Nick,
happen.
I actually I think Nick's not even talking about us. I think he's talking about people in
Oh.
the chat. I just realized that halfway through what I was talking about.
Uh.
Zach, the problem is we traded the wrong center. See, but the problem also is that you can't, as a GM, trade a massive haul for Rudy and then 2 years later be like, you know what? That was wrong. So he has to live with that. That's the decision he made.
Even extended him or something?
We did extend him, which gave us, like, I guess, a little bit of flexibility, but also, like, do we really want to be hanging on to Rudy until he's like 78 years old? I don't know. So yeah. But anyways, what would you grade Ant tonight?
Right in the middle. It's
I think that's
for me.
satisfying.
It's clear. It's a meh because
Yep.
he had some nice defensive moments. He had a killer burst in the second, after doing nothing in the first, by the way, and then I didn't really see him do anything for the rest of the game.
B.
I
Dunny.
agree, B Dunny, and welcome to the
Yes.
show. I feel like I don't know if I recognize your name.
Yeah, I haven't seen that name before. Welcome. Join the Discord.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this loss completely on Finch. Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was like, that was very bad. So,
Wow. I'm looking at the third quarter, Cameron.
yeah,
0 shot attempts for Ant.
that's, I mean,
What is that? That's like fire Finch on the spot. Like, I don't want. He's the coach of the year, but like at some point you just like, oh yeah, I have Ant on my team. Get him the ball, run a play for him. Instead, he's running a play for fucking Conley to shoot a corner three. Like after he turned the ball over. Like, let's keep going with it.
yeah,
All right. Well. Anyways.
cool.
Yeah,
There's the tier
cool.
list.
So cool.
Very cool. Well, the good news going forward. Well, there's a lot of good news. One, I think we're like 9-9. We've won like 9 of 13 games now, of our last 13 games. That's good. We just lost a relatively close game where we gave up a 32-8 run in the third quarter, and didn't call it. Our coach did not call a timeout. And the game was a one possession game, and we almost had this. Like, we almost came back and won this game with our team that's still figuring out how to gel. So there's a lot of things that are positive here. Also, the other positive, although our next game is not a great game for our schedule, after that we do get somewhat of a break. So the next game is Thursday. We play the Boston Celtics at home.
The Peyton Pritchard Celtics.
I mean, they seriously are the Peyton. I mean, expect Peyton Pritchard to go for 30. But after that, we play the Pistons, who maybe we want to lose to, so that we can get their draft pick. The Clippers, the Pelicans, the Magic. I mean, it's not a fantastically amazing schedule.
Those are beatable teams, though.
But they're beatable. Yeah, I mean, we can beat the Clippers. We can definitely beat the Pelicans. We should beat the Pistons, even though the Pistons are playing much better this year. And the Magic are probably beatable too. They got some bad injuries right now. So, and then Memphis after that, which, Memphis is playing better. They're like a 2 or 3 seed or something like that, but also beatable. And then it's a Wizards game after that. So like there's some winnable games here. As I've been saying every stream this year and in our like post or our preseason whatever video that we did, I think the regular season we're going to have to expect a lot less or a lot less winning, but at the same time, if that's the mindset, this is why I just wish you're never going to get this answer, even if you had the inside like access. But like, I wish I knew in the head of like Finch and Conley, where are we okay with being a team that's like 7, 8, 9 seed this year, and then that like next year is the year that we're really going to make some moves and try to make something really happen, or is this division and we're like, no, we just couldn't hold on the Cats, so we need to get 2 players, and now we're going to try to just run it back to what we did. Because if that's the mindset, then expect a trade in the next week or 2. But if it's the first mindset, expect nothing. Nothing is going to happen, and we are just going to be an above 500 team, which is what I'm preparing for. I'm preparing for. I've said it from the beginning of the season: 45 wins, not 52 wins, because then that would mean 45 and 37 or something like that. I don't even know. Something like that. I think that's probably closer to the realm that we are. But that's not me overreacting this game either. I think that we've played really well lately, and obviously Dante DiVincenzo coming on for us is amazing. Nas, if we could get some more consistency out of him. Julius has had more, chemistry with Rudy recently. We've even had some lobs from each other, and we just lost to the first place team. I don't feel too bad.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
I mean, the way we lost was the point of like most of my frustration, and like, it was like 65-53 after that bank three from Conley, and like, vibes were high, right? The bench was up.
Yep.
Then the Thunder locked in. Case and Wallace ripped our heart out, and they went on a 10-0 or 12-0 or 13 run. Then it like became like a 30-10 run. Then it was like 89 at the end of the third quarter. It was 89-75 the other way.
Yep. Yeah.
They scored 26 or 27 points to our 10.
Yeah.
And runs happen in the NBA. This is a thing you can do 8 times in the NBA. Call a timeout, and nothing shifted, nothing changed. And as Capo said, like as KG's 21 is saying, like, what is the other thing we can do in this team? Like, if the shot isn't going down, and if Ant can't drive to the rim, what else can we do? Oh, I saw some oops from Minot. That was fucking amazing. That was so cool. More of that.
Yeah, seriously.
When Dante isn't going, when the shot's not going well for Dante, at least he hustles. At least he gets those mad, Josh Hart like esque rebounds.
Yes, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, Josh Hart. That's exactly what it was.
Who else is stepping up? Like that's going to be a big point of emphasis for me for these next few games, especially against Boston. As someone said, they play a little bit more man to man, not as much doubling and in space, and because they have the people to do it. So like the Derek Whites, the Drew Holidays, the Peyton Pritchards, get off my lawn. Like these are players that are going to kick our ass, and we're not even talking about their stars. So it's crazy.
It might be a good thing to play all these good teams in a row because we have. Like our recent games have been against good teams too. I mean, we've played the Mavs recently, the Rockets, the Spurs are a good team. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Rockets game was the one I was trying to refer to earlier. And the Spurs game. We've played some good teams. We played the Knicks. We've had quite a crazy run after the in-season tournament. And I think it's good for us to play all these good teams because now every game that we've played has been against a quality opponent where, we're really able to see our flaws wide out in the open and work on them consecutively, not have like one really good game against an opponent. And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you're like, okay, now we got to go to do another one. Like, you're getting it all in a row. You're going to figure it out now. Because, again, you really want to be figuring things out now and in January. And then once February, March, and April come, then you're, like, really getting into a groove. So, of course, that's a little bit of copium, like trying to convince ourselves of that. But that also is the truth. Like, no team is just good all year and then wins at the end of the year. Even, like, think of the Warriors when they went 72-10 or whatever. They didn't win. So, like, they did not win the title. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyways,
New Year's
Eve. It is.
We got a Twitter dance party to go to.
Yeah. Wait, where's the Twitter dance party? It's Butterfly, right? Is that Butterfly?
Yeah, I don't know. That's where they are right now.
Oh, interesting. Well, everybody send a link. We're going to the Twitter Butterfly party. Also, again, I know I said this earlier. If you haven't already, if you're interested in a WAD Squad meetup, join the Discord if you haven't already, and then go to the channel Game Day Meetups. I have the link in there for this, and I'm only going to put it in the Discord. I don't want to put it here just in case there's like trolls or somebody here that's not commenting and then just decides to like ruin the poll or something like that. But, right now it's definitely looking like Saturday. So if you have any other strong opinions, let me know. But we're going to try to meet up somehow. And then that can determine when we can start doing the giveaways for that game because we're going to do some tickets for that game so that people can go to the game as well. And then where we can meet and how many people we need to have and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a fun time. I'm excited to meet everybody. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it from us. Any other thoughts before we close her out and say goodbye to 2024?
I'm hopeful. I'm constantly hopeful of this team.
Yep.
Like even a team like OKC, we can lose to. It's fine. We almost lost only, but we almost came back, and that would have been amazing. The shift from that Houston game,
crazy.
really translated onto the court for the next couple games. So like a game like this should be a throwaway experience, but like I really feel like the way that we lost, how we lost, and how we didn't we didn't handle composure. We lost it, and we didn't run plays. We just kept Conley out there. It's like there's some hard questions that need to be kind of like talked through, because I feel like there's no big massive trade that'll fix this team. It has to come from within.
Yeah, the big massive trade I think is at least a year away, if it's even a thing. So yeah, well, if you're still here, yeah, Capo, remember the Rudy fadeaway game 7? I actually rewatched game 6 and 7 the other night just because I was like, I just want to see it again.
I feel good.
It was amazing.
Game 7 is amazing.
Game 7 is so like, God. I mean, honestly, that game alone is worth like multiple seasons of sucking. Like I will not forget for such a long time. Ever. I mean, I'm never gonna forget that. And I wish I was in that crowd because the crowd was so loud for the Timberwolves at Denver. It's so satisfying. But if you're still watching this in the live stream or the VOD, leave your comment with your favorite moment of the Timberwolves season of the year 2024. So there's a lot to choose from. Honestly, we've had a lot of good basketball in 2024, and hopefully that continues into 2025 and beyond. So cool. It was great to see everybody. Like the stream on your way out if you haven't already. Join the Discord and look up the straw poll that I put in there. I'll tag everybody again just to make sure, because I think I'm going to make a decision here probably on Thursday when the next game is. I think that's probably when we'll make a decision on day. So cool. Great to see you all. Great to chat. Thanks again for everybody joining. Seriously, it's all fun to talk to you guys. And let's continue that conversation in the Discord. 52 wins, still possible, question mark? Intro as the outro. We'll see you guys Thursday night.
I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the World Championship.
Edwards! They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.